Khadgar was one of my favorite characters in Warlords of Draenor, but more importantly, Legion. I thought he was much better than Champion as a character to get us from point A to point B. What I'm more interested in is where has he been all of this time during Battle for Azeroth? To be honest, during the questline at the Wound, I was totally on board with Khadgar saying that this fighting is senseless, but that's a subject for another video. As far as we know, Khadgar is in Karazhan, seeing if he can aid the champions of Azeroth to heal the wound. So when do I think he's going to return to the current storyline? I don't think we'll see him until after Battle for Azeroth's conclusion. He made his choice to stay out of the war, and I honestly respect him for that. Khadgar is the last person I would have wanted to see on the other side of the battlefield. In Karazhan, many speculate he may be working directly with Medivh, judging by the ending of Return to Karazhan. I think this is most likely the case considering Khadgar's past. I think at this point there is a tiny chance we could see him in patch 8.3 depending on what the content is in the last patch. I think if it's faction war themed he's gonna not be there, but if it's something against the old gods I think there's a good chance that he might show up. Perhaps Khadgar will find out some information and share it with the champions of Azeroth to better heal the wound in Silithus. I think by the end of the expansion, regardless, Sargeras' sword will be removed from Silithus in some way, shape, or form. When we inevitably see the Black Empire rise, I feel Khadgar will be very prominent in this storyline. I think he will fill a similar role as he did in Legion and Warlords, or at the very least become a supporting character. As spoilers for patch 8.25, Rathian's returning and may fulfill a similar role to that in the future. So, with Rathian hanging around Karazhan, I'm sure this has been speculated before, but I'm 99% sure him and Khadgar had to have crossed paths at some point during his time in the Karazhan crypts. They just had to at some point. Honestly, I'd love it if next expansion we see these two working together in some capacity. I just think we'd get some really funny and interesting interactions between the two. Perhaps that potion that Rathian has that can uncorrupt dragons from the old god's influence, perhaps Khadgar helped him find out how to create that while he was at Karazhan. Let's always bear in mind that Khadgar is the same guy that's always been there for Azeroth. Everything he does, no matter what, he always means well and does for the better of the planet. I really enjoyed the audio drama when he was at the Tomb of Sargeras, and that spicy dialogue between him and Gul'dan was awesome when they were battling at the tomb. But seriously, I think Khadgar is the perfect Catalyst character in-game. He always had a good combination of comedy and serious moments, and that's something I really enjoyed from his character. Right now, Magni, while being a different character, just feels a tad stale in this aspect. Khadgar always just had this vibe about him that really made me feel more immersed in the storyline during Legion and Warlords, and always just had this really epic feel to him that I can't describe. Maybe I'm just a bit nostalgic, but him and Gul'dan were probably the two best parts of Warlords. Having Khadgar be one of the prominent characters in the Nighthold I thought was fantastic closure to this story arc. I really liked during the Tomb of Sargeras trailer where Khadgar mentions, "Gul'dan failed!" You know, I thought it was really awesome that he kept with that storyline, and he was the one that knew what a threat Gul'dan would be to Azeroth during Warlords, and he ended up fixing his mistake, which is something that is really awesome. So now that I've done a little bit of speculating, I'd like to throw it over to my co-hostess with the mostest, Epic Pandaren, Jackalope, and then we'll hear from Banarak, aka Skull Shorties, on their thoughts on Khadgar.
Hey, it's me, Jackalope, from Boxing Jackalope. I just want to say that I do miss Khadgar a lot. I always enjoyed his missions and even his one-liners in Legion. I do hope they bring him back. What's the name of the dwarf guy, Mike?
Magni?
I didn't even remember him. They need to bring Khadgar back. Get rid of Magni. You need the little Birdman. I always enjoyed his backstory, his one-liners, and his fun quests and charm. But Sylvanas? She's a bomb-ass bitch.
Greetings and citations, everyone. Boximus, or Boxin Jackalope, whatever he wants to call himself now, has asked me of what I like about Khadgar, the Archmage and current leader of the Kirin Tor. I like his whole new appearance, it just looks really good, though rip the Gandalf beard, I think he should have kept that, but that's just my opinion. We need more beards in World of Warcraft. His whole upbringing from being a stumbling apprentice of Medivh to being one of the most powerful mages on Azeroth. He's a very down-to-earth. He'll throw a joke at you during a crisis to make things not as horrible as it may seem. I'm remembering the world quests he used to give us during the Broken Shore, and I think on Argus. I don't remember if he gave us many on Argus. I don't think he did.
We seem to be having a problem with oversized eggs. Well, not with the eggs per se, but the kraken hatching from the eggs. Normally, I'd let nature take its course. However, I prefer not to fight an army of kraken and the Burning Legion at the same time.
He's very neutral and has friends on both the Alliance and Horde. Very similar to Tyrion. You know how much I like neutral characters and characters that are very similar to Tyrion. And most of all, I really like his whole rivalry between Gul'dan and himself in both Legion and Warlords of Draenor. He's the one that kind of... I don't want to say Khadgar is the reason why the Legion invaded. I mean, to a degree he is, but I really like that whole relationship between him and Gul'dan, where he created this monster Gul'dan of this timeline and had to face the music, and he essentially did help in bringing him down in both Warlords of Draenor and Legion, but that really went to Illidan. But I really just like Khadgar, and I'm glad that he has the weapon that Medivh once wore, or once wielded, I should say. But was glad to be a part of this, and keep up the Pandaren fight, as Box may say, but most importantly for the Horde is what he should be saying. But yeah.
So first off, I wanted to thank Jackalope and Skull for their input on this subject. Now, a matter I wanted to talk about was Khadgar is still the leader of the Kirin Tor. I think that's another reason why, in the next expansion, we'll definitely see a little bit more of Archmage Khadgar. If we do go towards an invasion from the Black Empire, the Kirin Tor will most likely be at the forefront of this fight, and hopefully with whatever knowledge Khadgar has gathered, we'll have a good way to fight back when the old gods inevitably strike at our cities. Now, imagine this, guys. Something that I could see being a really interesting cast of characters next expansion is Anduin, Rathian, Khadgar, Thrall, and Ebonhorn. This seems like a really good cast of characters to have after Battle for Azeroth. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little burnt out on the faction war. I think it's been a fun storyline during BFA, however, I'm ready to move on to a more Legion and Wrath of the Lich King type storyline. Maybe like where we're kind of at a Cold War, but we are willing to work together, especially with the odds we're going to be up against soon. So, anyway, guys, I want to hear what you think of Archmage Khadgar in the comments. Do you like him? Do you think he's funny? Do you think he's serious? Do you not like Khadgar? Do you not want him back in the storyline? I'd love to hear below. Now, let's go take a look at another prominent human mage in the lore. Let's see, WoW Wiki, Manceroy, Flame Fist, okay. Alright, let's go into his really in-depth storyline. Manceroy is a human located in the Battle of DADGHAR lore. He summons phoenixes and transforms into one as well.
Face the flames of the Inferno!
Hello, loyal viewers. It is I, your great and noble war chief Sylvanas, speaking to you. Thank you, Jackalope. I'm so flattered to be a bum-ass bitch, as you say. Could you speak more about me and less about Khadgar, though, in the future? I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Anyways, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.